Hi, my name is Jill. This is Freedom. We walk on Survival Road, and today we're talking about the idea of walking away for survival versus driving away for adventure. You've seen me make a lot of videos on both topics. Today I'm going to talk about what I feel like the differences are and why. And with that, but before we do that, I almost forgot our breath. Let's take a deep breath and we'll see you on the other side. Freedom, are you excited about your backpack? Freedom, here's your backpack. Freedom, are you excited about your backpack? No, he's not excited about his backpack. So today I really just wanted to talk about the differences. I actually think that might be a really good tagline, right? Whether you're walking away for survival or you're driving away for adventure, either way, road culture rules. You may hear that in the near future. And, I wanted to bring it up because I have talked about both. The truth is I'm kind of bored talking about just RV living in terms of RV life. And I've written that little book, Just Walk Away, that talks about what would we do if we actually walked away, because that's very different than driving away or, having some kind of adventure. And, there's a couple things that are specifically very different, not just in mindset, but in stuff, in planning and in preparation. And, when we're talking about driving away for adventure, we're really talking about two things. Either it's going to be, three things: temporary, part-time, or full-time. And each of those has a different set of components, that we need to look at, how we would prepare for that driving away scenario, because we're making the assumption that everything around us is going to stay the same. There's going to be gas, there's going to be food, there's going to be our money source is going to stay consistent, communication is going to stay consistent. We're going to plan on where we want to go based on where we want to go, versus sort of the other side of it. When I talk about just walking away as a survival, that is radically different, because chances are it's going to be permanent. You'll only be able to take what you can carry. You'll have no plan. Everything as we know it will be different, meaning food will be different, transportation will be different, communication will be different, people will be very different. And so those are two radically different ways of going out into the world in terms of my road culture definition. But you can look at both and really think about them both simultaneously on how you want to either plan for your adventure or just prepare for what are feeling like increasingly possible probabilities in the near future. Who knows what the future actually holds? But one of the reasons I like the walking away for survival thinking process is, one, it's a challenge. Two, it's really, right now, it's really helping me simplify what I want to keep and what I want to let go of. Because I think I've shared this multiple times, but for those of you who haven't heard it, one of the things that makes it difficult in terms of simplifying is, is this something I'm going to be able to buy again? Is this something that I will need in the future? Is this something that's not replaceable? Is this something that has multiple aspects of use of it? And will it serve both functions? Will it serve me if I need to walk away? And will it serve me in a more adventure capacity? And that helps me sort and kind of simplify. Because if you're driving away, you're going to have a lot more space and you're going to be able to take a lot more stuff. But if you're walking away, that list gets super tiny. So in my walking away scenario, there is no world in which I can go easily replace what I need. In my driving away scenario, I can go get what I need. And that's kind of that balance in terms of how you're evaluating what you're looking at. But it's also a way, I think, of helping, how do I want to prepare my mindset? What kind of traveling do I want to actually do? What is my goal around the traveling? Is it, if it's, refugee status, if things go bad and I'm now out and about because I have to be out and about. That's a radically different mindset. And it brings up a whole different set of issues. You know, am I healthy enough to walk away? Am I strong enough to walk away? Do I have the mental fortitude to walk away? Do I have the emotional capacity to trust I can walk away? Do I have the spiritual faith that will take me forward and make me feel safe? It's a very interesting process because it is such a bigger challenge. Now, I'm going to be honest, I never want to have to walk away for survival reasons. Ever, ever, ever. I think that would be really scary. I don't want to have to do it. I question my capacity to be able to do it. I think we all do what we have to do, but the reality is it would be really, really hard. You know, driving away can always be temporary. You can always, as long as society is in place, you can always figure something out. There's a safety net in some way, shape, or form. You know, as a social worker in the emergency room, I was the safety net more than I cared or wished to be, where people just made bad decisions or they had bad things happen and they ended up in an emergency room and they needed somebody to fix it for them. So in a adventure capacity, we still have that idea that there's a safety net in place. In a walking away strategy, there is no safety net. And that, I think, is the switch that I know for Americans it's very difficult to make. I'm not sure about other parts of Western civilization. I think most third worlds or remote areas understand there is no safety net. Even with cell phones, in many cases, there's no safety net. And that's something I've seen for a long time now, that people haven't really put those pieces together, that there's a big difference between just having an adventure versus if things go really wonky. And if they do go that way, I don't think most people really realize how hard it will be. We have an inkling. I think we've all watched TV shows. I'll give you an example. I was in Long Beach, California when the Rodney King O.J. Simpson thing broke out, and I was in close to the downtown area, and there was curfew, there was violence, there were fires, and I remember I was working at a domestic violence shelter, which was in the heart of it, and by the grace of God, I wasn't there that night, so I didn't get trapped there, but I was going to work the next morning, and it was the creepiest feeling. I felt like I was in one of those B-movie apocalyptic stories, because the streets were completely deserted. The windows were all broken out of the building. Several of the buildings were smoking. It was eerily quiet. There was nobody on the street. There was no traffic. There was no people. But there was just this really heavy, ominous feeling to it. And it was very jarring for me to really understand that this could be a future scenario. It was just really eye-opening. It was one of those moments where you're like, oh, we are not prepared. So I just wanted to throw that out there, give you something to think about so that you can look at your life and how maybe your thinking is one way or the other or both, and how, as much as I know people are thinking, well, why are you talking about this walking away stuff? It's so abstract. It can serve a very practical form and function as we get simpler, as we want to travel, as we want to have adventure, as we want to get more minimal, if maybe we want to get healthier, if we want to clear out our storage bins, if we want to have some goals to think about in terms of health or exercise or things like that. Or, the bucket list, things you might want to do while you still can. Get them adventures under your belt, because who knows what the future may hold. So that is our pitch for today. Just a little food for thought as we walk together here on Survival Road. But before we go, I'll ask you to take one more deep breath for the road, as I hope you will rise with the sun in your eyes, love in your heart, feet firmly on the ground as together we walk forward. And don't forget to both stay human, live free, and die wild. And with that, we'll see you next time. What do you think, Freedom? Is that getting closer to getting it on? Do you want to remind people that they can subscribe, share, and support by the links below? Say yes.